I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. So a warm welcome to everyone who's joined us this evening, and I'll start off with reading our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are on the land and surrounded by water, originally inhabited by Indigenous peoples who have traveled this area since time immemorial. This territory is within the lands honored by the Wampum Treaty, agreements between the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Lenni Lenape, and the Allied Nations to peacefully share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Specifically, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the Three Fires Confederacy, Ojibwe, Odawa, Potawatomi, and the Huron-Wendat peoples. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture while remaining committed to moving forward respectfully with all First Nation, Inuit, and Métis. So the purpose of an organizational meeting is to establish the board structure for the coming year. This evening, the trustees will elect a chair and a vice chair for the board, and committees will begin to establish their committee structure for the coming year. And I now invite Superintendent Raquel Roberts to provide the invocation.
Good evening. As always in this chamber, we seek to rely on and share wisdom that guides the deliberations of this board. We resolve to fulfill our responsibilities in a spirit of good faith and kindness to elevate others to greater stations and knowledge. It is our goal to remove barriers that impede student success, and we will work to increase pathways to achievement. May all voices and ideas be received with respect and consideration. It is within this climate of acceptance that we should look within for our inspiration.
Thank you. And I'd like also to announce our scrutineers for this evening. We have the two scrutineers, Drake Reed and Paul Mancini, who are both members, external members of our audit committee, and thank you for doing this for us this evening. So for those that have participated in the past and for the trustees, in the past, if we had a tie vote, we would put names in the hat and we would draw the name out of the hat. Our new revised bylaws indicate that it's done by lot. So in the event that there's a tie, there would only be two things placed into the hat. One would say successful, one would be blank. And if it's a two-way tie, each of the individuals would pull one. They would keep that closed, and then they would show me and then the announcement would be made about who's successful for the chair, vice chair, or any of the other committees in the event that there's a tie. I just wanted to, because in the past we've done that differently. So if we do get to that point, wanted to make sure that everybody was clear about that process. So at this time, I'd like to move forward with nominations and election of the chairperson of the board. So I declare nominations open for chairperson of the Greater Essex County District School Board. Do we have any nominations? Trustee Cook.
I'd like to nominate Trustee Hatfield.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? No further nominations have come forward. So we'll seek a resolution for the nominations to be closed, and that will require a mover. Trustee Buckler, a seconder. Trustee Cook. Yes. Ask if she accepts it. Yes. Trustee Hatfield, do you accept the position and the nomination for chair?
First, I'd like to say thank you to Trustee Cook for the nomination, and I really respect her confidence in me to carry this for another year, and I will humbly accept the resignation.
I need a resolution.
Oh, well, that too.
Not resignation. No, you just got nominated.
Freudian slip.
You can't resign already. And all those in support? And that carries. And I will now invite Chair Hatfield to continue on with the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Just give me a moment here to settle into the program. Okay. 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 So now I would like to declare that the nominations are open for the position of Vice Chair. Trustee Leclerc?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Trustee Buckler.
Thank you. D. Buckler, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the position of Vice Chair? None. Then I'd call for a motion to close the nominations. Trustee Burgess, Trustee Armstrong, all those in support. Closing, that's carried. Welcome, Trustee Buckler. You're now the Vice Chair of the Board. I invite you to come up front. Yeah. Thank you. Before I move on, I would just like to welcome everybody here tonight to our organizational meeting. Thank you for coming. We're now moving on to other nominations, item F on our agenda. And to begin with, we're going to start with a vacancy that has occurred on the audit committee. So there are still 2 years remaining on that term. And I'm now opening the floor to nominations for this position. I know the audit committee is a heavy load. Trustee McKinley? Trustee
Okay,
McKinley?
I'll self-nominate because everybody else has run into the position. And I've been on audit committee before, and I do enjoy the work.
Are there any other nominations for the audit committee? No? Okay. Seeing none, then I will declare that Trustee McKinley will fill the position on the audit committee for the remaining 2-year term. Thank you. Is the Supervised Alternative Learning Committee. And we will open this up for city trustee first. Trustee Buckler.
I'd like to nominate Trustee McKinley for the city.
Do you accept Trustee McKinley?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Then I'm looking for a motion to close the nominations. Moved by Trustee Buckler, supported by Trustee Leclerc. All those in support? Okay, those nominations are closed. Thank you. Trustee McKinley, you've been acclaimed to that position. Okay, now we're looking for a nomination for a member trustee from the county. Trustee McKinley.
I'd like to nominate Trustee Burgess.
Trustee Burgess, do you accept?
Yeah, I will. Thank you very much. I didn't see that coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none, then I'd like to ask for a motion to close. Trustee Cook, Trustee Leclerc, all those in support? That's carried. Thank you. Trustee Burgess, you're the county member on South. Thank you. Okay. Now we're moving to 3, which is our Greater Essex County Parent Involvement Committee. Oh, sorry. I forgot we need an alternate. Trustee McKinley?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Trustee Nelson.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Nelson, do you accept?
I do accept. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? No. Then I'm looking for a motion to close nominations. Trustee Cook, Trustee Armstrong, all those in support. That's carried. Trustee Nelson, you've been acclaimed as the alternate for the SAL committee. Thank you. Now we're moving on to the Greater Essex County Parent Involvement Committee, otherwise known as GECPIC. Trustee McKinley,
Yes, I'd like to self-nominate for GECPIC.
are there any other nominations for GECPIC? None. Trustee Buckler?
If we need to, no, we need an alternate. As an alternate, I'll wait.
You wait. Thank you. Okay. A motion to close nominations. Trustee Cook, Trustee Nelson, all those in support. Thank you. Trustee McKinley, you've been acclaimed to GECPIC. Thank you. And now GECPIC alternate nominations. Trustee Buckler.
Trustee Armstrong for the alternate?
Thank you. Trustee Armstrong, do you accept?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Any other? No. Then I need a motion to close nominations. Trustee Leclerc, Trustee Buckler, all those in support. That's carried. Thank you. Trustee Armstrong, you've been acclaimed as the GECPIC alternate. Thank you. And okay. Now we're on to the Student Discipline and Appeals Committee, F4. And for this, we need 3 members. Let's start with 1. Do you want to do that? Trustee Cook?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Leclerc.
Thank you. Trustee Leclerc, do you accept?
I do, and I'd like to nominate Trustee Cook.
Trustee Cook, do you accept?
And I accept. And I'd like to nominate Trustee Buckler.
Trustee Buckler, do you accept?
I do.
Are there other nominations? Trustee McKinley?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Trustee Nelson.
Trustee Nelson, do you accept?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Any other nominations? No? Okay, then we close the nominations and then we'll pick from the hat. Pardon? Pardon?
I'd rather go have an alternate than go back. We don't need to.
Okay. Trustee Buckler has just withdrawn. So the 3 nominated are Trustee Cook, Trustee Leclerc, and Trustee Nelson. Okay. Any other nominations? A motion to declare nominations closed. Trustee Burgess, Trustee Cook, all those in support of closing the nominations. That's carried. Thank you. Trustee Nelson, Trustee Leclerc, and Trustee Cook are the members of the Student Discipline Committee. And now we're looking for 2 alternate members. Trustee Burgess.
I would like to nominate Trustee Connie Buckler as alternate.
Thank you. Trustee Buckler, do you accept? Thank you. We need another nomination for an alternate. Trustee Cook.
I would like to nominate Trustee Armstrong as an alternate.
Trustee Armstrong, do you accept?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for alternate? Any others? Seeing none, could I have a motion to close nominations? Trustee Cook, Trustee Leclerc, all those in support? That's carried. Thank you. So by acclamation, Trustee Buckler and Trustee Armstrong are the alternates on the Student Discipline Committee. Thank you. Okay, what is this? I know. But I thought we could do something. Okay. Now we're on to F5, which is the OPSPA director to fill the vacancy for the remainder of the term 2024-25. Trustee Cook?
I would like to nominate Trustee Burgess.
Thank you. Trustee Burgess to accept.
Yes, thank you to my nominator. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations? No. Motion to close nominations. Trustee Cook, Trustee Buckler, all those in support. That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Burgess. You've been acclaimed to finish that term for us. Thank you very much. The OPSPA voting delegate for the remainder of the 2024-25 term. Trustee Burgess.
This is a point of information. I was the voting delegate. So that ended, I thought, in June 2025, which is what the term was. So
You can remain as voting delegate.
right, I
Right.
didn't think there would necessarily need a voting delegate to be
Okay.
because that position was not made vacant. The alternate
Okay.
for voting delegate was,
Okay.
but
Thanks for
keep
that.
it easy. If I could self-nominate.
Yes, that would make it easy. So,
Just to confirm that it's for till the end of the general meeting
in
in
2025,
June,
correct.
and that in April we will be
Yes.
revisiting this for June 25
Correct.
till the next June.
Correct. Yeah, this is because there's a vacancy
Correct.
that we're doing
Well,
this.
not for the voting delegate, but I just want to make
Yeah.
sure that I'm
Correct.
self-nominating for something I'm already in and
Correct.
finishing the term. Thank you.
Thank you. So what we actually need is a new alternate voting delegate. Thank you for getting us straight on that. Okay, Trustee Cook.
Not sure if this person will agree, but I'd like to nominate Trustee Buckler.
Trustee Buckler, would you like to accept that position?
I can try it at 6 months. I can try it.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Then I need a motion to close the nominations. Trustee Cook, Trustee Nelson, all those in support. Okay, that's carried. And thank you, Trustee Buckler, for taking that on. So now we're clear with where we are in OPSPA. And just again, for clarification, that will move off the agenda for the organizational meetings every year and now be moved to our April board meeting since the terms have been adjusted. Okay. All right. That's the end of the positions. So thank you, Drake and Paul. You did a great job as scrutineers. Thank you for coming. It's nice to see you. And I'll just throw a word out that these two guys are doing a fabulous job as members of the audit committee, and we really appreciate the time that they put into that. So thank you for coming tonight too. Thank you. We don't need a motion to destroy the ballots. Okay, moving right along. Let me look in my bag and see if I have some notes for tonight's meeting. Look at that. Okay, we're on H, the chairperson's remarks. Here we go. So, reflecting over this past year, I will admit that there were some tough times in this boardroom. Challenges from both within and outside our school board that I would never have predicted. What helped me most in navigating these landmines was to keep focused on what I know to be true, that as an educational organization, we are committed to creating confident learners in our classrooms, respectfully engaging communities in meaningful ways, and demonstrating ethical stewardship of our very limited resources. Our mission reminds me, as it should all of us, that our work has true purpose and value. But sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes we are not all on the same page about our obligations and responsibilities. As chairperson, I have the added responsibility of setting ourselves up to keep moving forward with a positive mindset within a climate of trust. To this end, the board, and in particular the chair, must work in close relationship with the Director of Education. The values embedded in our mission statement are the day-to-day lived reality of Director Houston and senior administrators as they provide leadership and direction in the work that goes on in both the boardroom and our classrooms. I believe we are very fortunate to have an educational leader who is confidently focused on our overall success as a school board. I have found that Director Houston is not only knowledgeable and professional, but also decisive and resilient. And she didn't tell me to say that. I admire her strength, and I'm very grateful for her leadership. Of course, trustees' perspective isn't limited to the walls of this boardroom. We are all well aware of the great work of all our staff in every department, in every school, and in every classroom. We do notice what you do. We value your contribution, and we are sincerely grateful. We count on each and every one of you, your dedication and your professionalism to meet and exceed our commitment to student success and well-being, regardless of the obstacles and challenges that come our way. I would also like to acknowledge the partnership that I've had this past year with Trustee Nelson in her role as Vice Chairperson. I think she was very courageous to take on the added responsibilities, and Trustee Nelson's support was greatly appreciated. Thank you. And there is no limit to the gratitude I feel for Melissa LeBoeuf. Thank you for your constant helpfulness, your dedication, and your attention to detail. I couldn't be a trustee, never mind chairperson. I couldn't be a trustee without you there to help me through. In the year ahead, we will be engaging in a new model of doing business through our recently adopted governance bylaws. These bylaws are guided by best practices and should allow for a clear focus on student achievement and well-being. As I said at our meeting last week, there may be bumps along the way. I'm sure there will be as we implement the new bylaws, but through cooperation, patience, and well-reasoned discourse, I'm sure we can work it out. We are at the midpoint of our term as trustees, and I hope this second half is inspired by a belief in what we do as a school board and a belief in each other to provide a bright future for our students. The work ahead will require focus, determination, and collaboration, but I am confident that we are all up to the task of building tomorrow together, every learner, every day. In closing, because I don't want to keep you here listening to me, in closing, I hope that everyone takes time during the upcoming holiday break to relax and enjoy the company of family and friends. I offer my very best wishes to you all for happiness and good health in the new year. And I never give up on my wish for world peace. That's important to me. And with that, we have reached the end of our agenda. I will thank everybody for their attention and their time tonight. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing everyone back in the new year. Thank you.
Gail,